Hey y'all, what's going on? This is J Maria, J Marie Booklet. So today I am making a video. I had a viewer ask a question in one of the comment section of one of the videos, and I answered the question, but I was like, let me make a video for this. So the question was, what type of requirements are required to be a unit secretary? And the requirements today are different than when I first started. So a long time ago, when I became a unit secretary, I went to the hospital. Like I applied for the position, and then I went to the hospital. I did an interview. I spoke with the person. I took a typing test to see how fast I could type. And that's all I really remember from there. Like, I remember being in the room, but that's all I really remember. It's just, taking the typing test and speaking, doing an interview. Now, I did have some experience at doing workman's comp, so I did know medical terminology. Well, I, I knew basic, okay? Workman's comp, and then I knew a little bit of medical billing. But when I say little, I mean little, like little medical billing. And so I think just that background alone was enough. And then of course, me doing the interview, and then also me with the typing test, because I think at the time, if you could type like 35 words per minute, that was fine. So that was the requirement. And then of course, I made a video talking about how we were basically learning medical terminology for a month before we even got on the floor. So like, we were hired, but we had to learn medical terminology, and then we went out on the floor and did orientation and did the CBLs and all that good stuff. Now I know nowadays when you look at um, a job position for a unit secretary, they want you to have, you know, possibly some experience, maybe having worked as a unit secretary before, or know medical terminology, or have your BLS, which is like no CPR. Some places require that. Some require people to be able to read EKGs, read the monitors. It just all depends. Now, is that all necessary? Not really. I had experience. So when I moved here to Florida, I had already had experience, and then I stayed in the medical field. Even though I wasn't working in the hospital any longer, I still stayed in the medical field. So my medical knowledge never left. I continued to do workman's comp. I did dental. I did all kind of stuff. So that was always there. Yeah, it was probably like 6 years from the first hospital to the second hospital, but I stayed in the medical. And so I had that experience. I went in, I still had to take a I'm pretty sure I took a typing test. I know they had uh, like questions about being a secretary. So like, if you were a secretary and they asked you this, that, it was like, I don't know, maybe about 10, 20 questions, and you had to pass that. And so I don't remember what I got the first time, um, when I got hired at the hospital. I don't remember what my score was, but when I transferred to the ICU, they made me do it again. They made me take it again. Cause I had to interview with HR and everything. Like, I had to do it like I did, like I work here, but they were like, So I had to interview with HR. I had to do all that over again just to transfer to another part of the hospital. And I had to take that test, and I got a 100 on it. And then I went on over to the ICU, because then of course I interviewed with the director, and then I went on over there. But it was the same, even though I had experience, even though I worked there. Okay, they still treated me like I was somebody off the street, because of course, they look at your record, attendance, any discipline, things like that. So yeah, they want you to have stuff. Now I didn't have. I think the whole time I was there, I never had my. Wait, no. Well, once I yeah. So when I was on the main floor, I didn't have a BLS. I never had my CPR. I didn't have that. Now when I worked at the first hospital, they paid for us to get it. They trained us to get it. I remember being in that class for like a whole day and to learn CPR. And then here they didn't require it, but then I went and got it on my own working in the ICU. But they didn't require it. But I think slowly they started requiring it, and I was like, I need to get it anyway because I had it and I just let it go. I did think about learning how to read an EKG. I was always fascinated by it. And I know the one girl on night shift, she actually got hired because I think she had applied to be a monitor tech, but they didn't have any positions. But they said you can be a secretary, and so she got more money because she could read EKGs, and so then she worked night shift, and then so she would make it bank. But do you need to know medical terminology? I mean, I don't know. They say they will like it, but I know some people who don't know medical terminology. Like they don't know it. I guess just any type of medical experience is more likely to get you in than knowing all that. They'll work with you. And of course, you gotta understand HIPAA. They're gonna beat that in your head, so you don't have to worry about that. They're gonna make sure you learn that. And then if they require you to have a BLS, you should really have it. You really should. And because I think that could be a hindrance. I think that could be a hindrance because that's just a requirement that some places have. And then of course, if they have a requirement that now with the EKG, like you may see that you might see like a secretary who can read an EKG monitor, read all that. That usually seems like it's for the ER, but I mean it could be for cardiac floors, but I've always only seen it really for ER, for emergency room. But that's just me. But some places, they require it. Some places they want CNAs. They want pucks, which is like a PCA / huck. So you can do both. You're certified. But some places require both, and it is just one of those things. So the requirements could be they usually all say the same thing with what they want for the most part. Some places want 1 or 2 years experience, but because I made a video, I've made so many videos, so many people requested videos. I made a video, why is it so hard to get a job as a secretary? So you have places where you have experience, you worked, you might be working as a secretary now, and they want 1 or 2 years experience where you got 4, you got 5, you got 6, and it's still hard to get a job. So I don't know, but so that's why I say that they may have the requirements, but they don't necessarily always stick with them, because if you have the experience, you should be able to get a job anywhere. But it's not like that. They may say that they want people to have no medical terminology, but it may not necessarily. It won't matter as long as you got medical experience. So it's just one of those things. Hospitals, they're hard to read on what they want. Now, sometimes I do know that sometimes they may have jobs posted and they're not really hiring because it's like a they they keep the job open, they keep the position open, but they're not hiring. So that's why they always like this place always hiring, but they don't never hire nobody. Like you submitted your resume or your application 100 times and they never hire because they're just keeping it open. It's like an internal thing that hospitals do. Because if they say that they don't need that position, then that money will be taken from the director. So the director won't have that money in their budget. So that's why they always keep that position there, but they really don't need it. It's just one of those things. That's just you got to know how hospitals work. And then it makes it makes sense, but it's like not when you on the other side trying to get a job. It don't make sense, but it actually does make sense. On why the director or the manager would leave that position open, even though they know they're not hiring. And companies do that all the time. So that could be some of it. It could not. Sometimes it's not you. On the reason why you're not getting a job is that they're really not hiring. They just keep their position open so they can keep that money for the budget. But if you, I hope that answered your question more. I like I said, the person asked the question, I answered it, but I was like, that could probably be a video because I know a lot of the secretaries, like a lot of the subscribers, are new secretaries. I know a lot of the audience is new. Like some of you all have experience and you're working, but a lot are new. So I was like, you know what? That's a good question that I probably should make a video on. And on like what are the requirements. Like I said, I think it's mainly just your typing and your multitasking skill, the ability to get along with people, understand that there are all types of personalities, and then of course knowing medical terminology. Some things you like, something a lot of it is you learn it on the job. That's all it is. You learn it as you go. So if you have any questions, you can put them below. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.